Seated in the lotus position, I observe the rising sun painting the sky with shades of orange and pink. The fresh morning air fills my lungs as I prepare to share my journey with you. I'm a contemporary monk, but my story doesn't begin within the confines of a traditional monastery. It starts on the bustling streets of a big city, where stress and hectic activity were my constant companions. A few years ago, I was like many of you, racing against time, eating hurriedly, sleeping little, and unknowingly neglecting my health in ways I only came to understand later. My name doesn't matter, as this story could be anyone's. What matters is the transformation I underwent and the teachings I received, which I now share with you. It all began on a particularly stressful day. I had just left a tense meeting at the office. My head was throbbing, and my stomach was churning in protest against the strong coffee I had gulped down hastily that morning. It was in this moment of discomfort that I noticed a small poster stuck to the subway wall. Learn to live in harmony with your body. Lecture with Guru John. Normally, I would have ignored such an advertisement, but something that day, perhaps desperation for relief or a curiosity I didn't even know existed, made me jot down the address. That night, contrary to all my habits, I found myself sitting in a small conference room in a local community center, surrounded by an eclectic mix of people, all looking as out of place as I felt. And then he entered. Guru John wasn't what I expected. There were no exotic robes or long white beard. Instead, I saw a middle-aged man, simply dressed with a gentle smile and eyes that seemed to glow with deep wisdom. He began to speak, and his voice had a calming quality that immediately captured my attention. "Welcome, seekers of truth," he said. "Today we're going to talk about something you all do every day, something so fundamental to life that we often neglect it in its simplicity: drinking water." I confess my first thought was skepticism. I had come to a lecture about drinking water, but as John continued, I realized I was about to learn lessons that would transform not only my health, but my perspective on life. Water, he explained, is the essence of life. Our bodies are composed primarily of water, and yet many of us treat it with indifference. We drink without thinking, often choosing beverages that actually dehydrate us even more. But the truth is that how we drink water can be as important as how much we drink. John paused, picking up a glass of water that was beside him. With deliberately slow movements, he brought the glass to his lips, closed his eyes, and took a small sip. He kept the water in his mouth for a few seconds before swallowing. It was a simple gesture, but there was something almost sacred in the way he did it. "Observe," he said, opening his eyes. "When we drink water in this way, slowly, consciously, allowing it to remain in our mouth for a moment, we're not just hydrating our body, we're practicing mindfulness. We're reconnecting with the most basic and essential element of life." He then guided us through a simple exercise. He asked each of us to take a glass of water and drink as he had demonstrated. I vividly remember that moment, the freshness of the water in my mouth, the sense of calm that spread through my body as I focused entirely on the act of drinking. It was a revelation. "Many of you," John continued, "probably experience body aches, stomach problems, chronic fatigue. And while there are many possible reasons for these issues, one of the most common and often ignored is inadequate water consumption." He then began to explain how the way we drink water can profoundly affect our health. Drinking water quickly or in large quantities at once can overload your kidneys and digestive system. On the other hand, drinking water slowly in small sips, especially while sitting, can significantly improve your digestion and help your body absorb water more efficiently. I remember thinking about how many times I had gulped down a glass of water at once, rushing from one meeting to another. How many times I had ignored my thirst until it became unbearable, only to then drink too much at once. It was as if John was speaking directly to me, exposing habits I had never questioned. "The timing of when you drink water is also crucial," he continued. "Drinking a glass of warm water right after waking up, before any food, can help cleanse your digestive system and prepare your body for the day. On the other hand, drinking large quantities of water immediately after meals can dilute your gastric juices and hinder digestion." John then shared advice with us that has since become a fundamental part of my daily routine. Try to drink water 30 minutes before meals and wait at least an hour after eating to drink again. This allows your body to digest food efficiently, without interference. As the lecture continued, I felt as if I was awakening from a long sleep. How many times had I ignored the subtle signals of my body, treating water as something to be consumed hastily, without thought or reverence? John was teaching us not just about hydration, but about mindfulness, about the importance of paying attention to our body's natural rhythms. "The temperature of the water you drink is also important," he explained. "Room temperature or slightly warm water is ideal for your body. Ice-cold water, although refreshing, can actually slow down your digestion and require your body to use extra energy to warm it up. I remembered all the times I had ordered ice water at restaurants, thinking I was doing something good for myself. It was as if a veil was being lifted, revealing the many subtle ways in which I had been misaligned with my body's needs. John continued, addressing specific situations. During exercise, it's important to drink water regularly, but in small amounts. Drinking too much at once can cause discomfort and hinder your performance. Listen to your body. Drink when you feel thirsty, but do it consciously. He then addressed a topic that surprised me. Many people believe they need to drink 8 glasses of water a day, no matter what. But the truth is that our water needs vary depending on many factors: our activity level, the climate, our diet. Instead of forcing yourself to drink an arbitrary amount, learn to listen to your body's signals. This idea of listening to the body, of being in tune with its needs, was completely new to me. I had always followed rigid rules and exact numbers, never considering that my own body could be the best guide. As the lecture neared its end, I felt a mix of emotions: gratitude for the knowledge I had received, but also an overwhelming sense of how much I had to change. As if reading my thoughts, John offered words of encouragement. "Don't worry about changing everything at once," he said with a gentle smile. "The journey to better health is exactly that, a journey. Start slow. Maybe begin by drinking a glass of warm water every morning, or paying more attention to how you drink throughout the day. Small changes made consistently can lead to great transformations." As we prepared to leave, John made one last comment that stayed with me. "Remember, water isn't just essential for our physical survival. It's a teacher, a constant reminder of our connection to the natural world. Every time you drink water consciously, you're reconnecting not just with your body, but with the very essence of life." I left that room feeling transformed. In the days that followed, I began to implement John's lessons. I started each morning with a glass of warm water, drunk slowly and with gratitude. I paid attention to the moments when I drank water throughout the day, turning each sip into a mini exercise in mindfulness. If you're enjoying these tips, consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you. Now back to the story. As days turned into weeks, I began to notice subtle but significant changes. My digestion improved, the headaches that were once frequent began to diminish, and I felt more energized and focused. But beyond these physical changes, something deeper was happening. I was learning to pay attention, to be present in each moment. That first lecture with Guru John was just the beginning of my journey. In the weeks that followed, I returned for more sessions, each one deepening my understanding not just about water, but about the interconnection of all aspects of health and well-being. In one of these sessions, John addressed the topic of fruits and their role in our health. Fruits, he explained, are not just food. They are packages of vital energy, full of essential nutrients and pure water. Consuming the right fruits in the right way can bring immeasurable benefits to your health. He then began to talk about specific fruits, and I confess I was surprised by the depth of his knowledge. The papaya, he said, is an extraordinary fruit. Rich in digestive enzymes, it not only aids digestion but also strengthens the immune system. Eating papaya regularly can help prevent digestive problems and even improve skin health, John continued, talking about other fruits. An apple a day, as the saying goes, really does keep the doctor away. Rich in fiber and antioxidants, it helps regulate blood sugar and promotes heart health. And don't forget about raisins. These little jewels are concentrated nutrients, excellent for bone health and combating anemia. But it was when he mentioned lemon that he really caught my attention. Lemon, he said with a twinkle in his eye, is almost a medicine in itself. Rich in vitamin C, it strengthens the immune system, helps in iron absorption, and can even help alkalize the body, despite its acidic taste. John then shared a practice that has since become part of my daily routine. Start your day with a glass of warm water with lemon, he advised. This not only hydrates your body after the night's fast, but also stimulates your digestive system and provides a dose of vitamin C to start the day. What impressed me most was how John connected these simple foods to such profound health benefits. For those over 50, he said, incorporating these fruits into your daily diet can work wonders. They help maintain youth, strengthen the immune system, and can even help prevent chronic diseases. As I absorbed this information, I realized I was learning much more than just about nutrition. I was learning a new way of seeing the world, one that recognized the inherent wisdom in nature and in our own bodies. Weeks turned into months, and I continued to attend John's lectures, each one revealing a new layer of wisdom. I learned about the importance of intermittent fasting, about how different foods affect our energy balance, and about the profound connection between our physical health and our emotional and spiritual well-being. One day, after a particularly impactful lecture, I decided to approach John personally. There was a question that had been bothering me for weeks. "Guru," I said, my voice trembling slightly. "How did you acquire all this knowledge? How can I learn to live with such wisdom and awareness?" John smiled, his eyes shining with compassion. "My son," he said gently, "knowledge is everywhere around us. It's in the water we drink, in the fruits we eat, in the air we breathe. Wisdom doesn't come from accumulating information, but from learning to observe, to listen, not just with our ears, but with our whole being." He paused, looking deeply into my eyes. "You've already begun your journey," he continued. "Every time you drink water consciously, every time you choose a fruit with intention, you're practicing wisdom. Keep observing, keep questioning, stay open to the lessons that life offers at every moment." Those words resonated deeply within me. I realized that what I was learning wasn't just about physical health, but about a completely new way of being in the world. It was about living with awareness, with intention, in harmony with the natural rhythms of life. In the months that followed, I continued to deepen my practice. I began to meditate regularly, to practice yoga, to pay more attention to my breathing. But most importantly, I began to see each everyday act, drinking water, eating a fruit, even washing my hands, as an opportunity to practice mindfulness, to reconnect with the miracle of life. Gradually, my life began to change. The stress that once seemed constant began to diminish. I started sleeping better, feeling more energized and focused during the day. But the deepest change was internal. I began to see the world differently, to appreciate the beauty and wisdom present in the simplest details of everyday life. One day, about a year after my first lecture with John, I realized that something fundamental had changed in me. I was in the office, in the middle of a particularly tense meeting, when I noticed that instead of feeling stressed and anxious as I normally would, I was calm, centered. I took a deep breath, took a sip of water from my glass, room temperature of course, and felt a wave of gratitude envelop me. It was at that moment that I truly understood the power of John's teachings. It wasn't just about physical health, but about a complete transformation of being. I had learned to be present, to find peace and balance, even amidst the chaos of the modern world. After that day, I began to share what I had learned with my colleagues and friends. At first, many were skeptical, just as I had been. But as they saw the changes in me, my renewed energy, my calmness in stressful situations, my improved health, they began to take interest. I started organizing small meditation groups in the office during lunch hours. I taught my colleagues about the importance of drinking water correctly and about the benefits of incorporating specific fruits into their diets. To my surprise and joy, many of them began to adopt these practices and experience positive changes in their own lives. One day, during one of these group sessions, a colleague asked me, "How did you learn all this? You seem like a guru." I laughed at the irony of the situation, remembering how I had felt at that first lecture with John. "I'm not a guru," I replied. "I'm just someone who learned to pay attention and value the simple things we tend to ignore." As I continued my journey of learning and sharing, I realized I was moving further and further away from the corporate lifestyle that had been my world for so long. I began to feel a calling for something different, something more aligned with the teachings I had received and the person I was becoming. It was then that I made a decision that changed the course of my life. I decided to leave my corporate job and dedicate my time fully to the study and practice of Ayurvedic teachings. It wasn't an easy decision. There was financial security and social status to consider, but in my heart I knew it was the right path. I vividly remember the day I told John about my decision. I expected him to be happy, maybe even proud. Instead, he looked at me with a serious expression and said, "Remember, my son, that the true spiritual path is not in running away from the world, but in learning to live in it with wisdom and compassion. No matter where you are or what you do, the real practice is in how you live each moment." His words hit me deeply. I realized there was still much to learn, that the journey I had begun was in fact a lifelong journey. In the years that followed, I dedicated myself to the in-depth study of Ayurveda and other holistic healing traditions. I traveled to India, where I spent months in an ashram, learning directly from ancient masters. I studied medicinal plants, advanced meditation techniques, and deep spiritual philosophies. But in all my studies and travels, I never forgot the fundamental lessons that John had taught me. The importance of drinking water correctly, of eating mindfully, of respecting the natural rhythms of the body. These simple practices continued to be the foundation of my health and well-being. Over time, I began to teach on my own. I organized workshops and retreats, sharing what I had learned with people from all walks of life. I saw how these simple yet profound teachings could transform lives, just as they had transformed mine. One day, during one of these workshops, a participant asked me, "How do you manage to maintain this practice every day? Isn't it difficult to be so disciplined all the time?" I smiled, remembering how I myself had asked similar questions at the beginning of my journey. Discipline, I replied, comes naturally when you begin to experience the benefits of these practices. It's not about forcing yourself to do something, but about recognizing what truly nourishes and sustains you. When you drink water consciously, when you eat with gratitude, when you breathe fully, you're aligning yourself with the wisdom of your own body. And that's not an effort. It's a joy. As I spoke, I looked around the room, seeing the attentive faces of the participants. I saw in them the same desire for change, the same search for a healthier and more meaningful life that I had felt years ago. And I felt a deep gratitude for being there, able to share what I had learned. At that moment, I realized that my journey had brought me full circle. From a stressed and disconnected executive, I had transformed into someone capable of guiding others on their own journey of self-discovery and healing. But I also knew that the journey never really ends. Each day brings new lessons, new challenges, new opportunities to grow and learn. And in each sip of water, in each conscious breath, in each moment of presence, I continue to find the wisdom that John taught me to seek. Today, as I share this story with you, I am grateful for every step of this journey. I am grateful for the water that sustains my life, for the fruits that nourish my body, for the air that fills my lungs. I am grateful for the wisdom of the masters who guided me, and for the innate wisdom of my own body. And above all, I am grateful for the opportunity to share these lessons with others. Because in the end, that's what true wisdom does. It spreads, nourishing and sustaining not just ourselves, but everyone around us. So as you listen to this story, I invite you to pause, take a glass of water, drink it slowly, mindfully. Feel the water nourishing your body, refreshing your mind. In this simple act, you are practicing a profound form of self-care and connection with life. Remember, the journey to a healthier and more conscious life doesn't need to be complicated. It begins with the simplest gestures: a sip of water, a deep breath, a moment of gratitude. And from these small beginnings, a whole world of possibilities opens up. May you find wisdom and healing in every sip of water, in every fruit you eat, in every breath you take. May you recognize the miracle of life that flows through you at every moment. And may you share this wisdom with everyone you meet on your path, because in the end, we are all part of the same flow of life. We are all drops in the vast ocean of existence. And through our daily choices, through our awareness and compassion, we can create waves of healing that spread throughout the world. So drink your water, eat your fruits, breathe deeply, and always remember the wisdom that resides within you, waiting to be discovered and shared. May your journey be blessed, may your water be pure, and may your life be an expression of the beauty and wisdom that you are. Om Shanti. Peace to all. Peace.